Hi. I thought I was live already. Could you hang on 1 second? Okay, I'm gonna start this over again because I was talking and I thought the whole time that I was live, but I didn't hit go live. So, anyways, hi, welcome. Just a warning up front. I am not feeling well today. I haven't been feeling well for about 10 days now. I had COVID and I think I'm just getting over the residual effects of the COVID. I want to welcome everybody. Peak, I know that you're listening. I'm happy you're here. Marissa, thank you for coming. Jay, Jamie, Diane, Donna, everybody. Oh, thanks, Jay, because I washed my butt. I took a shower and I colored that bleach out of my hair. So it's okay. You don't need to chat, babe. I'm just grateful that you're here. So today we're going to do part 2 of my medical records from Fairview Deaconess, and it'll be like part 2, like the end. I don't want to give it any more attention than I've already given it. I've had this for a couple of months now, and I've even gone through it with my therapist, which has actually been, oh, good. Thank you for letting me know, Jean. I sent this off to my trauma therapist, and we've unpacked all of this together. So I have a much better understanding and grasp on myself now than I did before I was discussing it with my therapist. Because there are guidebooks now. My friend Meg, and I've told you all this before, but I just want to remind everybody, on the 7th of May, my friend Meg Applegate, who's the CEO of Unsilenced, she released her memoir. You can get that on Amazon. You can get it, I would suggest, either paperback or Kindle. But if you prefer hardback, that's cool too. But you'll have to look it up. You'll have to look it up under the title of the book, which is Becoming Unsilenced, because for some reason Amazon is blocking her on her release date. They even banned her book for 12 hours, and we're not exactly sure why yet, but I have some of my investigative team in here that I plan on looking into who Amazon might be associated with, who might have been pushing back on this book. I'm not entirely sure, but luckily it was overturned, and her book is available for sale on Amazon. So I'm going to start with this page because it's one of those things that when you see it, it just kind of shocks you a little bit, or it does for me anyways. I mean, most of you haven't been through anything like this, but so what this is, it's a consent upon admission to the Fairview Community Hospitals for medical treatment. And it's basically my father signing over custody of me to this hospital. And that's his signature. Ironically enough, I was, turn that off for now. Anyway, I just got off the phone with him, was why I was a couple minutes late. We're really good. But we're still going through a lot, right? Because we went through this experience together. And so I just wanted to share that page with you. And then I want to go into some things I really want to focus on is, first of all, I spoke incorrectly in previous videos about my personal TTI story, in that I didn't believe that we had IEPs, which is an independent educational program, which is a consultant, but actually they did have it back in the 70s and 80s. It was just the counselors and teachers in the I apologize for my brain, in the those were the IEPs. So anyone who ran special ed, like the counselors and the teachers, were considered the IEPs back then. And they changed the name later. But in my records, I found I had everything pulled up correctly. I apologize. I want to show something. It's been a real troublesome thing for me, which starts with okay, here we go back here. Yeah. There, all of this stuff where they're talking about me and my seductiveness and my flirtatiousness, which is one of the reasons why I was not allowed to smile, why I was on restrictions. I showed that last time. I can show that again in a bit, but I just want to. Back then, they wrote everything down. Everything was handwritten. So, and I'm working with 191 pages here. So, please forgive me my slight unprofessionalism. I'm also, now, hey, there she is. Hi, Lala. Okay, so, my goodness, they really wrote a lot. I just wanted to show that chain of custody paperwork first because I found it really kind of jarring to see my father sign over custody of me to a hospital in Minnesota when we lived in. Jamie, you're funny. Okay. I'm crying out loud. Okay. So we've got all the stuff about my admissions. I'm probably gonna miss the comments for a minute while I read through this. So Jennifer Newton, 14-year-old female Caucasian, was admitted to 5 North for evaluation of possible alcohol drug abuse dependency. She was admitted by her father. Dad states that the second, you know what, we went through this. This is not, these aren't the pages. We were talking about Dad states some of her friends have real problems. They use a lot, are in placements, have been in treatment, etc. Some of her boyfriends drink a lot and were older. Some of my boyfriends. Okay, first of all, I had one boyfriend. He was 3 years older than me, and he was the kindest, gentlest. Yeah. He drank, he smoked weed, but whatever. Like everybody did that back then. I don't want to make it sound like it was nothing, but no. So then we've got she's been turned in for being a runaway, but was not picked up. And then I don't know what that means. As far as I think that they might have filed a runaway missing persons report on me, but I wasn't picked up because I just went home. And I talked about that in my previous video on this. Stole a car. It was actually my stepmom's car. I was either in 7th or 8th grade when I did that. No charges were filed. I have a half sister by her mother's marriage. Her name is none of anybody's business. Dad and mom separated when she was about 6 years old. I was 5 when my dad left. Mom felt she was missing a lot and started seeing the next door neighbor. Mom and dad met in high school and married when dad was in the service. Dad states there's no chemical dependency in mom's background. Dad states mom drinks heavily, probably too much, which she did. She did have a drinking problem. She quit in 2001. I'm incredibly proud of her. She's reportedly supportive and she's supportive and hopeful of this placement. Dad isn't sure if she can make it for family week, but she will participate back in Michigan. Dad is presently in the process of his second divorce. He does not want this. He states it is 80% due to me. I don't like saying Jenny because I'm very traumatized by that name. By me and the way she has treated her stepmom. This is a very important issue. It appears she is getting her way with this breakup. Dad is devastated by the divorce. Stepmom is now on a cruise with her parents, and Dad feels she will leave when she returns. Dad states his stepfather was an alcoholic. He grew up with this man. He is still alive and still drinking. There is no other alcoholism. Dad states he is a social user about 2 to 3 times per month. It was more than that, but he was just a social user. He's not been concerned about his drinking, but watches it due to his father, and that's a misquote. It was his stepfather. Dad states he will not drink while I was in treatment and will pass this along to Mom. Dad states he recently found pot seeds in the house. She denied they were hers. She does have a collection of bottles in her room. She came in with one in her purse today. I guess I took a bottle in my purse to Minnesota. She has watered down alcohol bottles at home from time to time. She's made statements about suicide. Oh, hang on a second. I have to put that. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that word. Am I? Sorry about that. I'm not the pot seed. I know. Gosh, those evil pot seeds. So, yes. So she's made statements about unaliving. Joanne McCoy, the devil in disguise, who died in 2005, unfortunately. The referral was concerned that unaliving may have been an issue at one point. She has enjoyed withdrawal into her room and has done a great deal of this recently. Dad is very supportive and under a great deal of stress. He's showing the codependent behaviors that he learned with his stepfather, we'll just say. He seems to have a realistic view of what is happening. He has done a very good job of covering the pain, and I sense he is in. This is the admissions person. Patient appears to be using daily, is a polychemical user, and has been unable to quit her use. She is failing in school and has been suspended several times. She's having a lot of problems at home. She is from a divorced family with a second divorce taking place. Greg Larson, admissions. I felt I had problems. I thought I would self-destruct. That was something that I said. When I said that I had problems, it didn't mean drug problems. I had problems. I had emotional problems. I had family problems. I was using weed and alcohol to numb myself. The cigarettes, I don't know why I started smoking cigarettes. It was a really stupid thing to do. But I was 12 when I started smoking cigarettes. I haven't smoked cigarettes since last year. I'm very proud of myself for that. Let's see. Okay. Search and shower done earlier. It's about 3 years. And I want to say something about the search and shower done earlier. They mean a full naked body cavity search and shower. When I got there after we did like a intervention, they called it. I talked about it in the last video about the intervention that we did there with my dad, and so I don't think that's relevant. I'm gonna hang on a second. Thank you, Diane. Quitting smoking really is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And I overdosed on a mixture of heroin, cocaine, and ecstasy that was forcibly injected in me at 17, and no one would take me to the hospital. Hi, Sharon. No one would take me to the hospital, so I had to keep myself alive at 17 years old. And if anyone who's ever gone through any type of overdose of any kind would know that it's near impossible to keep yourself alive. But apparently I have a very strong constitution. Oh yeah, no, I do want to show this page. So now we're going to go. Spoke directly, rapidly, fair eye contact, stated. People really wrote like shit. Can I just say that? Hi, Janet. I'm not. I'm feeling a bit better. I can't say I'm not feeling all the way better, but oh, here, okay. So now we get into has good verbal skills, present. Oh, read the unit rules, the buddy system. The buddy system means somebody who not only shadows you but like holds on to the back of you while you walk around with them. And okay, so I've got family problems. My mom's boyfriend beat her up one day, so I was going to kill him with a baseball bat, but he held a gun to me. I've used pot, alcohol, speed, dust, and Valium. At this point, and this is my introduction. So when they were talking to my dad, they put me in a group, and I was listening to people talk in the group. And I'm just throwing drugs out there. Honestly, it's because the dust, first of all, that was an accident. I talked about this last time too. A friend of mine got some weed that was laced with PCP, and none of us knew it. And that was a really scary thing. The speed was no dose, and that's that was something you buy over the counter, whatever. I use a lot every day. Yeah, I use alone sometimes, but mostly with my friends. I wouldn't have weed if my friends wouldn't have given it to me. I mean, these are a lot of like excuses. A patient made the above statement during her introduction. She did not specify her chemical use until she was asked to. And that's my point, is that I didn't give any information. Hey girl, good to see you. Our girl TCD's in the house. Thank you for coming. It's everything about this just it's unbelievably. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is what I wanted to get into. Okay, symptoms of chemical dependency noted: multiple chemical use to extreme intoxication, daily use, loss of friends, missing school. Patient appears to have some major victim issues. I'm just going to stare into the camera for a second and let that sentence sink in. Patient seemed to have serious victim issues. The patient was a 14-year-old girl whose parents did not put her first. I have this real guilt thing now in my life about talking poorly about my parents because I love them so much. But it doesn't take away from my childhood. Uses her shame as a way to manipulate people in being soft with her, maybe holding secrets, possibly sexual, family in nature. It's not that bad here. I want to stay. That was also something that I said in that introduction that I didn't know what. It's all right, Misha. I'm just glad you're here. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow, 15 people. I think this is the most people I've ever had in a live. It feels good. I'm gonna cry, and I'm not sorry. So if any of this is too much for you, and you can't handle, it's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt my feelings if you can't watch. I appreciate the support, but I don't want anybody else. Thanks, I love you too. I don't want anybody else to be triggered by my feelings. So don't feel obligated to stay and listen to this if it's too much for you. I don't mind. Okay. So concerns presented by father. Oh, mad knowing. Oh gosh, no, this is that thing that we went through last time. The whole thing about everything that he said was, you're mad, or I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm furious. Everybody that was here for that knows. Oops, it's my bad. All right. Thank you, everybody. You don't like people who are well spoken? No, they don't, Marissa. They don't at all. Thanks, Jay. Yes, Donna, that's exactly what it is. And they make billions of dollars a year doing that today still. And it's disgusting. And people like Marissa and myself are working really hard to end this and to get legislation passed on a state and federal level to have these umbrella companies that own all of these programs around the country exposed, and to have the worst of the worst shut down permanently. It's, hey, Anik. It's good to see you, honey. Thanks for coming. All right. Just pay attention to the trigger warning just in case. Symptoms of chemical dependency noted: multiple chemical use, failure to meet obligations of family and friends, family problems related to use. It's not what my family problems were related to. Impulsive behavior. That's true, because I have ADD, what is now called ADHD. And when I was a kid, and I apologize for repeating myself a lot. I know I repeat myself in my videos, but I consider them all standalone videos. When I was a child, girls, it was not considered that girls got ADD, ADHD, whatever you want to call it. It's semantics to me. But I wasn't diagnosed until 1996. I was 26 years old when I was 25 when I was diagnosed. No, 26. Sorry, when I was diagnosed. And it helped make a sense of a lot of like my inability to sit still, that I'm so like I am scatterbrained and hyper and bouncing around on topics and being impulsive, missing school. I can explain the missing school. I was advanced, and up until the third grade, I was in advanced classes. And then because of my ADD and my acting out in class, I was put in special ed. And it was just too boring for me. I couldn't pay attention. And I really already knew all the stuff. And so it was either I would answer all the questions and then I'd get bullied, for knowing the answers, or I would just sit quietly or, start making jokes or whatever, an insecure kid with ADD does when they're not getting the attention that they need and everything's being blamed on their parents' divorce. When my parents' divorce had a lot to do with my problems, but I was born this way. I was born this person, right? We are all born who we are. Now, I'm not the same person that I was when I was 14, because there is a very hard line drawn in my life when I entered this program. My life ended. Who I was died. And that's a fact. She is gone. And for 39 years, I walked around. I'm going to take this back down for a minute because I'm kind of liking this. I want to talk about this for a minute. By the way, TCD, we miss you. I just want to let you know that. Hey, Deb, thanks for coming. And I think I just forgot what I was talking about. Um, you know, I spent 39 years believing that I was an impulsive, useless, unlovable freak, and now so it's about to be June, so we'll say, a year and a half now about that. I've been learning about the troubled teen industry and meeting so many survivors. And just recently, in the last couple weeks, through our Unsilenced, I can't remember, I think it's in our advocacy group. Yes, it's in our advocacy group. There was somebody newer that had joined, and they grew up in New Jersey, and they had seen my call for people that had attended Fairview Deaconess Hospital in Minneapolis. And this woman said that a bunch of her friends in the 80s from New Jersey were sent to Fairview Deaconess. And I do remember a lot of kids from New Jersey being there, from several states being there. A few from Michigan, some from New Jersey, some from New York. Nobody was from Minnesota. I don't get that. And it's been a bittersweet symphony. I love that song, but it has been a bittersweet symphony, this awakening, because while I feel free and I know who I am versus what I experienced and that they're different, having all of these repressed memories come back to me in waves and stages is overwhelming. Some of them just I still haven't been able to process yet. So okay, so we're gonna go back because this is. I love you, Nisha. Thank you. I love all of you guys. I appreciate every single person that's here. You have no idea. So okay, this is important. Impulsive behavior, missing school. Patient appears to be the scapegoat of the family system. But then in the next sentence, they say she seems to use the turmoil in the family for her benefit. I would really like to know how that benefited me, because it landed me in a troubled teen industry program, and then another one, and then another one. And then it ruined 39 years of my life. It didn't work out so well. It did not, there were no benefits to it. If there were any benefits, it was all negative. She also may have been abused within the family. Father appears to have been so wrapped up in his marital problems that he has not been paying much attention to Jennifer's situation. Patient appears to have some motivation for change. It's just true. I did talk about ID in group. I don't know what ID stands for. So yeah, they kept making me say that I was there because I feel that I'm chemically dependent. And it says patient made the above comment in completion of client intake, which they made me. It says patient appears compliant. Of course I was compliant. My dad left me in a lockdown hospital. Literally, like the elevators were locked, the stairwells were locked. It was locked. And I was on the 5th floor, then on the 3rd floor. Patient to talk about intervention. That was really bad. I'm here for evaluation. So that this was the next day. So you're in evaluation with these. This is all the stuff that I'm supposed to do. I started working on a feelings collage because that was artistic. So I can do artistic expression. That's not a problem for me. It says a patient was quiet and interacted minimally with peers. Patient seemed compliant. Rehab potential to achieve goals is good. Daily OT, DC planning in conjunction with team, progress documented weekly, duration until transfer or discharge. So at the beginning, they already assumed that I was going to be trouble. Okay, so the next page here, I think I have family problems and a drug problem. And here's a truth. I do believe that if something didn't change in my life, that I would have ended up with a drug problem. I actually did end up with a drug problem when I was released from the second place, which is why I overdosed when I was 17, which is one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. I am so grateful that I overdosed, because from then on, I was scared to death of drugs. And except for a period of time about 10 years ago where I was overtaking and abusing my anti-anxiety medicine due to a mental break, I have not abused any drugs or alcohol since I was 17. Let's see. I enjoyed what I did most of the time, but now I feel bad. My use has affected every aspect of my life except family. Well, I wouldn't come in on time and stole money, so I guess it has. Patient made the above comments when talking about her intervention. Patient stated that her father's concerns were valid and that she saw her behavior as drug related. I just was telling them what they wanted to hear. Patient remembers most of her father's concerns, but did not mention that her mom, and I don't like that they put bio mom in there. I think that's rude, because it's not like my mom wasn't involved in my life. I had literally just been living with her when my dad kicked me out over that fancy $5 bill. But then I had to go back and live with my dad after the incident with my mom. But I was mad at my mom. So at this time, I was angry at my mother. But I don't like this calling her my bio mom thing. That's unacceptable to me. But did not mention that her mom also sent a concerns list that the father read. Patient did not recall any of mom's concerns. Patient also talked about her behavior towards stepmom as an act of anger towards stepmom for taking her father away from her. Patient appears to want to be seen as motivated. Patient appears to come off as a nice little girl. Patient appears to be tied up in her father and his marriage. Patient appears to have ulterior motives in being here. Yeah, the lady who tricked me into going there lied to me. That's my ulterior motive, to get away from my dad. Patient seems to be a very angry young girl, seems to blame her problems on her family situation. Patient to present a drug chart and feelings collage. I'm going to take this down. It really is what? Oh, I appreciate that. I am too, Misha. I am too. Some days I'm not, but that's why I'm in weekly trauma therapy. So now we're going to move on. I want to, does anybody have any questions you want to ask me or anything while I look for my next points? Oh, what did we? That's really the only reason I'm doing it. I've said it privately to you all, to my friends, and I've said it to, people. I'm not doing this for attention or clout or clicks or subscribers or fame or I don't care about any of that. And honestly, I've technically already reached my goal of of reaching a survivor who didn't know, and also reaching a parent who had terrible guilt feelings about having sent their child to a program, who this person had said that I was helping them very much, and it moved me so much. But it this is it is important, and I appreciate you all saying that it's inspiring and that it's brave. I do. I appreciate all of that. I'm not really good at taking the compliments. Marissa, gotta say you're helping me get the courage to share my story. Marissa, if you ever feel like you want to share your story, but you don't want to do it alone, you have a standing open invitation to come on my channel and share. And it's not, I'm not trying to push or anything like that, but you always have an open invitation to come and share your story on this channel. Because I see you, a survivor, and you have been a great help to me over on Mighty, because we are, right? We're warriors, of course, absolutely. Because this isn't all about me. The reason that I told my 3-part story, the reason that I'm sharing my records, is so that after this, I can put a thumbtack in that, and then I can move forward and I can start talking to other survivors. And Marissa, I don't know if you've heard of the Bethel Boys or not. They have I will update the description, because I always usually put unsilenced.org. Lala, if you could do that, if you could put the link to unsilenced.org, and I will find the one for the Bethel Boys, the Bethel Boys YouTube channel. They have a documentary coming out on Discovery Plus and HBO Max in September. I'm very excited about that. And let's see. Okay, so this is the link to the Bethel Boys. I've been in touch with John. I got in touch with him through TikTok, interestingly enough. Meg had I believe that she reposted one of his posts on TikTok. And so I started watching some of his videos and was commenting back and forth with him. And we started following each other, and I'm getting very into their YouTube page now. And I'm very proud of them. They haven't been as active lately, but I mean, they weren't as very active, for the last couple of years with the shakeup between the advocacy groups and all of that. But now that they got picked up for this documentary, which is amazing. And I'm just going to put this out in the universe. I've already told everybody at Unsilenced what I really would like to see. Because we've done wilderness program documentary, right, with Hell Camp, that's on Netflix. We have therapeutic boarding schools with the program on Netflix about the Academy at Ivy Ridge, and now boot camp with the Bethel Boys, because Bethel, I can't even remember the name of the place. It's Bethel Boys Academy, but it was boys and girls. Bethel Boys Academy, Herman Foundation, or Herman Fountain. Sorry, Herman Fountain was the man who ran that, and it was boys and girls. There's a lot of corporal punishment there. Hard to be everywhere when doing things like this, though. Grace for the time away, gratitude for things that are done. Yeah, I love that. That's good. Thank you for that. All right, so now everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, a bunch of you know that I have intestinal gastro problems. And this is a little bit of peek into, I actually think on the page before it said something about No, it did not. I'm trying to find the part where it says something about my here. Here. Okay, so patient came to nurse. Oh, why am I looking there? Patient came to nurse, stated she felt like vomiting. No other complaints at this time. Temperature 98. Patient allowed to rest for 1 hour. Stated she felt better after sleeping. Encourage patient to let staff know stomach ache returns. Another patient came to nurse stating that she was concerned about Jennifer. Stated that Jennifer told patient that a few years ago Jennifer threw up after eating her meals. Patient was confronted on this behavior. Patient denied any present vomiting after eating. States that she that she had to vomit after eating, but she had to vomit after eating, but hasn't done that for 1 year. Patient weighs 87 pounds and is 5'2". Possible eating disorder. Monitor eating habits. Patient ate 2 pieces of toast and several vanilla wafers. Stated she feels good now and stomach distress is 0. Patient was again comfortable. Confronted on eating behavior, but denied this behavior. So there's all this stuff about monitoring my eating habits. And then it just starts talking about the drug stuff. Okay, so yeah, but see, okay, so I was 87 pounds, but something important of note, and it's in my records. My dad stated that it's actually a normal thing in my family. My father was very thin. When I was born, my dad is 6'4", and when I was born, my dad was 22 years old, and he weighed 143 pounds. I have photos. It's a fact. He was very thin until he quit smoking the first time at 30. Then he gained 80 pounds, but then he looked like just a normal person. And I was very thin, no matter what I did or didn't eat, until I was in my late 30s. It just was. It wasn't a behavior. It wasn't an eating disorder, but they're looking for anything to hold against you, especially if you are being defiant. And defiant really just means, just not just going with the program. And I just couldn't. I couldn't. Yeah, right. Right. No, I was nowhere near full grown because I ended up, so at 14, I was 5'2". I ended up 5'6". Of course, I'm 5'5.5" now because I'm shrinking. But yeah, it's not unusual, but it was thin, and I was quite thin, but all that did was make me even more. Oh no, it was 14. It's okay. 17 is when I overdosed. But no. So give me just 1 second while I'm going for. And I don't like silence. I know silence is not interesting for people, and I apologize. Okay, so now we have some stuff here. I don't have my drug chart done. I'm having trouble with my consequences. I'm afraid of most of the people here. I'm afraid of what they'll think of me. Patient was confronted in group about not having her work done, discussed consequences, checked out what group members thought of her. This really, because this is a really, really nice and secretive way of talking about the circle group. Okay. Patient spoke softly, eyes downcast, fidgeted with clothing, which you see I do that all the time anyways. That's what I do. Fidgeted with her clothing. Patient's apprehension appeared to be getting in the way of her work. Patient appeared to be feeling lonely, have very low self-esteem. Symptoms noted: failure to meet obligations of friends and family, missing school, impulsive behavior, loss of friends, family problem. Why is this all? And I was SA'd. Actually, it started when I was 4, not 6, and there were 4 boys present. So they told me that they beat me up if I told anybody. I didn't. They did it anyways. Again, my dad physically abused me for 4 months before I came in here. He slapped me, punched me, kicked me, and knocked my head against the wall. I'd have bumps on my head, bruises on my legs, and he left a red mark on my face once. It happened whenever I did something wrong, but it was worse the past 2 months, because that past 2 months was when I had to move back in with he and his wife, and their marriage was obviously completely falling apart. Patient spoke in one-on-one, which she requested, eyes downcast, hollered, swore, cried when talking about SA, stated the 15-year-old and 12-year-old. I'm just going to let you read it. I'm not going to say that out loud. Patient appeared to be feeling anger and shame around the abuse. Follow up with report encouraged patient's continued self-disclosure. Place called to child protection, who asked that we check with them on Tuesday. Staff will follow up on Tuesday. You mean if I talk more about my feelings, my stomach will stop aching? I guess it was a question that I asked. Seen on a one-on-one basis, patient stated that she feels a lot better, often talking about her abuse issues, stated that she has stomach problems since she was small and needed to take Tagamet for it. Yep. Explained to patient that the more feelings she talked about, the better she would feel and probably have less stomach distress. Appears very angry today after talking about abuse issues. I wonder why. Like, let's just pause there for a minute. Now, why would a child feel angry after disclosing SA for the first time and physical abuse? Why would a patient feel, a kid, a child, a teenager, whatever, feel angry? I don't know, because it's horrible. And sorry. Of course I was angry. Also, at this point, I realized what I'd gotten myself into, because once again, this is a reminder, I was not gooned. I went voluntarily to this program. Unfortunately. All right. I guess I forgot. Wait. I apologize. This writing is just difficult for me. Peers and staff regarding anger. Oh, so it's forcing me to have a one-on-one with a peer and staff regarding my anger. So that was me getting screamed at for being angry. Make sense. So I attempted to do my drug chart 3 times, and the first 2 were refused because they weren't enough. Hey, Cosmic, thank you so much for coming over. I really appreciate. Thank you, Jamie, for that. I definitely appreciate that. I need to skip. It's very it gets really redundant. repetitive. I mean, they repeat themselves a lot, which is really annoying. Oh, and here you've got another page of complaining about my eating. Patient states she vomited after supper because her stomach was upset. Patient had complained of stomach pains after supper, requested Tagamet. Patient told to eat supper. To eat some wafers, right? To eat some wafers to settle her stomach. And she could try another Tagamet later. Patient complained of stomach pains, family, feeling nauseous, Tagamet given. Patient states the Tagamet settled her stomach, made her sleepy. She states she hit the wall with her hand because she was angry. I punched the wall in my room. Right hand slightly swollen. I think they thought I did it for drugs or something, but I didn't. I was just legitimately angry. Full range of motion. Patient appears to have full range of motion, no apparent swelling. Oh gosh, I forgot about this. So there was on the fourth floor, that was the mental ward, and there were boys' bedrooms. So my bedroom faced the courtyard, and you could see it's like a L-shaped, I guess, hospital, and you're a lonely kid, and I'm in the window waving or whatever, and doing like I think I did like that because back then we didn't do this. We just would do like stuff like that, like do it on the window or whatever. But I didn't do anything with him. I just flashed a heart at him in the window. Yeah, I do have bits. I do have bits of sexual consequences. Patient made above statement in one-on-one in response to staff confronting her, communicating intimately with a male she doesn't know. Okay, here we go. This is when I really get pissed off. Is they turn this into this seductress narrative about me, and consensually I was a virgin until a year later. So it's infuriating to me. So far, I'm a massive drug abuser with an eating disorder who is a seductress who just tries to get everybody under her spell with her sexiness or whatever. So concentrating or commenting that I don't even understand this, to part experiences when she uses poor judgment with males, admitted to being physically abused by a boyfriend and sleeping with guys she didn't know. Patient had poor eye contact because I was lying. Fidgeted in chair, kept wringing her hands, used a whiny voice. Patient appears to have poor boundaries and to use poor judgment in relationship with males, has difficulty with this, with seeing this. Okay, number one, I started being SA'd when I was 4. And yeah, hi Rebecca. You have this right here. Yeah, 100%. But this is part of the business model. Okay. Victim blaming is literally part of the business model. This is what they do. They just destroy you from the inside out. And a lot of times from the outside in too. That wasn't my personal experience at this particular program. Yeah, seriously, just unbelievable. It's ridiculous. Teach patient. Okay, so she is. Oh, that's Joanne McCoy is out of the country. Could do. Patient is classified as ED for attitude referral. Oh, refusal to do work. Could do very well. Sorry, could do very well. A's and B's if she wanted to do the work. Attendance is a problem. Had hyper distractibility. Let's see, what causes hyper distractibility? Right? Yeah. We see now in hindsight that it was probably the drugs accelerating the condition. Showed extreme mood swings, lots of blaming, did not stay in class, outspoken and rude to teachers, will fail most classes this year. There was no overt drug use at school other than one occasion, which I've already talked about. Saw her phone call to, this counselor before Jolene McCoy. Saw her for about 5 months and showed all the classic symptoms of a child using drugs. She made reference to have no. Father was resistant and said he was going to get a second opinion. So this guy wanted to send me to treatment, but my dad was resistant and wanted to get a second opinion. I wonder where I would have ended up if that guy would have sent that Tony Aleno. I have to look him up. He's probably dead too now, though. Problems resurfaced when dad remarried when she was 10. He remarried when I was 11, but whatever. They don't get anything right. And the new symptoms had high. And the new stepmother had high expectations about discipline, family chores, responsibility. States patient was acting out in every way possible. Extreme mood swing. States she hopes patient will be referred back to her for aftercare. States that she said dad punched her around a couple times and she talked with him about it, didn't think it was a truly abusive situation. Sometimes I smoke alone. Sometimes I get high at 7:45 in the morning. Oh yeah, I get lots of social. This is unimportant stuff. But okay, so the stepmother thing, oh boy, you said a lot right there. And honestly, like when my dad first started dating his second wife, I liked her a lot. She was only 14 or is only 14 years older than me. she was in her 20s, and she's she came from she lived in a farm. She came from a family where chores were mandatory. I came from living with my grandmother where I was not allowed to do chores because I didn't, in my grandmother's words, I didn't do them right. I didn't make my bed the way that she wanted me to make my bed. She didn't want me messing around in the kitchen. The only chore that I had was to take the garbage out. So to go from that to like a lot of chores are fine. Chores are good for kids, and it's great. I get it. But to go from nothing to cleaning the house, doing the dishes before and after meals, cutting the grass, picking up the dog poop, doing like all, and then there's more. And I just can't necessarily think of it at the moment, but it was a huge life change for me. And there was no grace given to me for that, going from one sort of life to another. Also not mentioned is the fact that I didn't want to live with my dad and my stepmom. I wanted to live with my mom. Because this is pre-incident. It really kind of ended up making me decide that I was going to agree to go to this program, which I know is stupid, but I was 14. What are you going to do? I just oh no, that's part of I'm looking for more stuff. So what you'll see here, what you'll notice here, I do want to show this though, is a pattern of them trying to get me to do this drug chart and take accountability and admit to all of this drug use and all of this behavior that I didn't do. And I obviously was very resistant to it. All of these drugs, it said it showed 13 seasons of use. Because I was listening to the other kids' stories every day. I was taking in everything everyone said and picked and chose little bits and pieces, so it didn't seem obvious that I was just, piecing this stuff together. But okay, so patient seems, it looks like it says diluted. I don't know if that's what you see, but it says projects attitude that she can control her use / behavior, acts coy and seductive. That's the sentence I was looking for. Acts coy and seductive, appears not to be taking a serious look at her consequences, may have abuse issues she's avoiding working at. Symptoms show polyprogressive use with defiance, daily use, memory loss, solitary AM use. Okay, the AM use was not solitary. It was with my friends on the way to school. Let's see. Memory loss. I said that already. Use to extreme intoxication, intoxicated throughout the day, losing friends, failure to meet obligations with family and school, harmful sexual and social. I need to read half of this. Needs to list 5 most harmful consequences of chemical use. So yeah, again, they're just referral rescheduled for Friday, 5:31 at 10 a.m. Dr. Hiller. Unable to reach patient's father regarding rescheduled referral. We'll call again later. This is a recurring theme. Child protection not available to make report. Worker to return the call. Patient complained of stomach pain, sharp and jabbing, requested and received Tagamet. I'm chemically dependent. I don't trust guys, but I still flirt with them. Patient has presented 3 drug charts, the third of which was accepted. She has also presented a feelings collage, which has also been accepted, with the additional assignment of having a one-on-one with staff to talk about secrets she could rather not disclose in group. She has yet to complete her drug history. So this is 10 days into it. Present assignments and give feedback to peers. She has spent much of her time here on no male contact, as she has been observed interacting with male peers to an excessive degree and in a flirtatious manner. I don't know any teenagers that weren't flirtatious, and I mean, it's just ridiculous. Their interactions, male peers. Patient often giggles and is animated during what? Unstructured time with her peers. Okay, yeah, unstructured time with her peers, but has something several times in group when talking about grief and abuse issues. Data supports the diagnosis of adolescent chemical dependency syndrome. The following symptoms. So everything that was wrong with me, giggles. I know, how dare I giggle, goes along with my restriction of no smiling, which I do want to show that one more time. Because, just in case for any of the people that missed that from the first one, it's really important. This was, thank you all for your patience. I really appreciate it. Right, giggles. Yeah, exactly. Stepmom being in her 20s, no experience with you while growing up as a young child. She doesn't know you or your history. 100%. Absolutely. And I just started getting my period like 3 months before I was sent away. So I was still just like in the beginning of my cycle, which is that? My cat is scratching the back of my, there it is. There it is. My favorite. So this is under the needs care plan, outcome criteria evaluation. Now, Thomas says hi. Excuse me. I just want everybody, okay, to begin focusing on her own program rather than others, particularly male programs. My restrictions were no male contact, no smoking, no smiling. Feedback must be self-related, meaning that I couldn't talk about the reasons that I was having such trouble, which was my family and friends and bullying and SA and physical abuse and all that. Also, what's not in here. So at this point, they had already decided that it wasn't that I wasn't, that they were going to fail me from the program, and they were trying to keep me in their long-term 2 to 4 year program within the hospital. But we'll cease care, talking behavior, and starting relationships with males. So that's what I'm going to end this on, because I don't know, right? God forbid an adolescent girl should giggle or smile, right? And I just want to remind everybody that I was also denied education. They did have class, and I don't, for anybody who has looked into the troubled teen industry, you will find a pattern of behavior in these programs where the education is BS. It's not even accredited, nor does it count towards credits of graduation. But for me, I was, one of my restrictions and punishments, which it's interesting that I cannot find it on here, is that I was not allowed to go to class because I had to sit, because there was boys in the class, and I had to sit at the front administration desk. They had a bench, and I had to sit, like up on the edge of the bench, straight up all day while everyone else was in class. And then I would go into groups, and sometimes I was actually even banned from going to groups. And then they would complain about me being, locked in my room. Or not locked in my room, but like just being in my room by myself. And I just, what I've learned from this record is that it's not me. It's never been me. Granted, did I have issues? Did I act out? Yes, absolutely, 100%. But a neglected and ignored child finds out that negative behavior creates attention, then they're just going to feed into that and keep doing it and keep it. It's all right, Kristen. I just appreciate you showing up. I hope that your dog is okay. But yeah, having a 24-year-old stepmom when they got married, and her not understanding me, and my mom being with a very abusive man, and me not being able to live with her. And then when my mom moved to Texas, and my father refusing to allow me to go visit because he must have gotten wind. I'm guessing, and I've never asked him. I'm not going to. Okay, good. Glad it's just a checkup. But I look back at all of this, and I'm not even mad. I'm not mad at either one of my parents. I feel really bad about my dad's second wife. She was a really good person, but it is normal. This is so important. I have to highlight this. It is normal behavior for a 14-year-old. And what you'll find is that this is 80% of them. 80% of survivors of troubled teen industry programs it was just normal teenage behavior, trying to figure out who you are, trying to navigate hormones and how weird it makes you feel, and the changes in your body, and it's so difficult. And they're still not any better at it today. I notice, schools. I can't believe that there's still troubled teen industry programs out there, and I will not stop until there are no troubled teen industry programs left that are abusive and harmful to children. I can see where there is a need at times for a rehab for kids that that they get in trouble. They get into the cycle of addiction for whatever reason, family or feelings or whatever causes them this disease. And I can't imagine either. I wouldn't want to be a teenager now. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't, but I'm proud of all the teenagers that I do know. They're actually pretty great, but I can't. I think of it every day, not myself, not what I went through, but the kids that got gooned and picked up and taken to a program last week, or kids that were talked into and voluntarily agreed to go to a program and then are freaking out right now because they realize what they're in, and they might hurt themselves, or they might run and get hurt. And Well, thank you, Misha, but I am one of many. I'm one of many. I'm not special. I'm just the one that was um I don't know what the word would be. I guess I could say brave enough to just start a YouTube channel and just start talking about it. Because I've seen a lot of, you know what? Yes, I am. I am a warrior. I absolutely am a warrior. And I'm very proud of that. And there's a lot of days when I don't feel strong. I don't feel like a warrior. I do feel like I'm just surviving, or as Charles Bukowski used to say a lot, just waiting to live, waiting to die, you know. But I have a purpose and I have a goal and I have a plan and I have an amazing support system. And there are several of you in here right now. I'm sure there's more of you that are going to watch later. And I want you all to know how much I love and appreciate you. I do want to wrap this up soon. I don't like to go more than an hour because I know that it tends to get a little, you know, redundant after a certain amount of time. If I'm not out doing something like, at a protest or, at an event or something, it can get a little. Support system is 100% key. Absolutely. And well, shoot. Well, I'm humbled. Thank you. Thank you. I did. And, I did have help, with not with the idea of this channel, but to get the courage to do this channel. I did have help. And I'm very grateful for that help. And I'm not going to stop. And now that I have shared my story, I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing a lot more pre-recorded videos, more live streams. I'm going to be having guests. I'm very excited because I'm growing not only my support system, but my advocacy and activism community. I'm kind of merging communities that never would have necessarily been merged if I hadn't found out that I was a survivor of the troubled teen industry while also being a part of the anti-Scientology movement, to realize how connected these two things are. And I'm actually starting to become really excited for what could be done. Yes, we are. And the most important thing is that I have been forced to be silent for 39 years. Yeah, 39 years. I was forced to be silent, and I will never be silent again. I will scream until I lose my voice, and then I'll start using sign language. I don't care. I won't stop. We won't stop. We'll never be silent again. It's over. The silence is over. People will be held accountable. And I am going to be doing a deep dive into the Bethel Boys because I would really like to speak to John if he's interested in speaking to me on my channel. And I really hope that you all, I have reclaimed my voice, or probably claimed it for the first time, really. That's right. No more silence. Yep. All of these things. Thank you all so much for getting it, and for being here and for showing up for me. Like I said, I know I haven't been necessarily consistent with my channel. I'm working on that. The hardest part is over for me. And I think that one of the reasons that I wasn't consistent, aside from not feeling well and then starting working full time again, is how painful it is to share your own story. Because it's not just about telling other people my story. I have to relive all of these incidences while I'm reading these things, or in the beginning of the year when I was telling my story. it's very painful for me to do it, but I've looked at it as a video journal because I have been struggling to write, and it is exhausting, Michelle, 100% exhausting. But it's also like I'm going to get a sort of a boost of energy from this, from having done this today and completed this portion so that I can focus moving forward on, well, thank you. But I don't have to anymore because this was the last hurdle. This was the last hurdle on my personal story. If I do end up getting stuff from out the house, that's cool. I'll end up sharing that too. And of course, throughout, I'll continue to take, I'll continue to share. Yes, you are. And I'm really proud of you. And I support you too. I want you to know that I support you. Yeah, it's very freeing. And that was the first thing I felt when I found out last year that, industry was at the end of troubled teen, and it was an actual thing. And now that I've got through the hardest part of this channel, it's going to be really exciting. So please stick with me, and I will be doing at least 2 videos a week. I can't promise that they're both going to be live streams. It'll probably be 1 pre-recorded video per week because I intend on doing a very deep dive and exposure on Dr. Phil McGraw and his part in the troubled teen industry. And I am going to be looking into Bethel Boys Home and exposing them in the lead up to their documentary being released in September. So I'm very excited for that. Also hoping to be a part of a documentary myself, whether I do the documentary or whether I get interest from a documentary filmmaker. I have a documentary filmmaker friend. Most of his stuff he does, though, is all been about stand-up comics. So I don't know if he would be interested or not, but I am going to pitch the idea to him, documentary about older survivors who didn't find out until later in life why their entire adult lives were garbage because they were broken as kids. So with that, I am going to, that's really cute. Kimbe, thank you. Thank you for showing up, girl. That's really nice of you. Thank you. And thank you for subbing. I really appreciate you. So yeah, it's you came just in time for me to say goodbye and tell you all how much I appreciate you, and to remind you, as I always do, to please be kind to someone today. And if we all do that, and we all do it every day, we could change the world. And I firmly believe that we can make this world a kinder place, and that we can overcome all of the bad in this world by using our voices for change. So I look forward to, I want to say this, it can be a delicate balancing act between wanting to protect others who are being hurt and needing to still protect yourself. 100%. Yes, that's very, very true. And I just wanted to highlight that because, Anik, I think that you need to know that you are valuable, and you are appreciated, and you are seen, and you are wonderful. And you also have a support system, and I don't want you to forget that. So I look forward to seeing everybody, and let's get our advocacy on. All right. Everybody have a great night. Thanks again to all of you for coming, and take care of yourselves and each other. And I'm going to go hang out with this guy. Okay. I love you all. Have a great night.